Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good night. This is Pixelia here. I'm with my man Stony.
What
Stony
up?
Eye,
What up? How you doing, homie?
Mofaya Master.
More fire, more fire. Ba, 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 bow.
I'm glad to have you here, have you around, brother. You've been around for a while, and
Awesome. Yeah,
every single
I'm
time
stoked to
we
be here. I appreciate all that you do and what you're doing, and this whole series, and it's super cool. So I'm hyped to be on here.
much appreciated to hear that, brother. Um, well, before we jump into business, there's always something I ask to every single person who sits down with me to have this conversations, and that is, uh, how was it that you acquired your first crypto, and how did that journey led you to the central end? Because they're not often related.
Yeah, it was all definitely simultaneous for me. It all happened at the same time, which was during the whole lockdown thing. And I'd always been interested in crypto, and I had heard about Decentraland and the metaverse concept, and that definitely intrigued me. But at the time, I was so busy just running around playing in like 4 or 5 bands and producing and trying to be a rock star, and just like I didn't ever really take the time to fully research it and get into it and do it. So when that whole lockdown thing happened, my wife Sultry Dubs, she was pregnant and we were here by ourselves, and it just kind of was like the perfect storm for me to really dive down that rabbit hole. And I can't remember what my first crypto was. Like I said, it all happened around the same time. I remember it being really difficult for me to figure it out. There was a big learning curve, like just to get up. I think either Coinbase or Binance or one of those, I believe, was my first one, and just to get the money in there and set it up and do all the authentications, and like it was definitely a learning curve. I could see why um maybe not we don't have mass adoption yet, and why everybody's not involved, because you definitely have to have some persistence and be willing to like jump through some hoops to make it happen. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
also make some mistakes sometimes. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
costly mistakes.
Yeah, that's like anything though. There's always a learning curve, and for me, I enjoy that part of it. Like I enjoy the learning process of anything, and have always accepted that there's going to be mistakes and trials and tribulations along the way, and I try to embrace that and just accept it as for what it is.
That's cool. And during that process, I'm assuming you bumped into mana or something like that.
Yeah, I came across so I'm an artist, and I was in a bunch of galleries at the time, and I'm a musician, so I was playing shows and all that. So everything shut down at once. So I found Decentraland looking for an outlet for my art originally. Like I have my one homie who's a bass player in my one band. He was into crypto, and he was already buying it, and he knew that I was interested about it, like I said, because I talked about it, and I showed interest. I just hadn't taken the time, and he hit me up about NFTs, like right when those really started popping off, and was like, bro, you need to like get your art out there as NFTs and do something with it. And I hadn't even heard the term yet, so I went down the rabbit hole of researching that because he brought it to my attention, and I found the DCL blogger Maddie. I found a video of him running around Decentraland, like talking about wearables, and he went to some galleries and was talking about art and all that. So that's kind of what that was my first really introduction. Like I said, I'd heard, I think, a news story at some time about digital land, and they were talking about probably Sandbox and Decentraland, and that. So I was familiar, but I wasn't, so I was like, okay, let me jump in and check this out and see what's going on. And we jumped in first. Me and Sultry, she was with me. With just one avatar, we jumped in and was running around, and we were kind of tripped out. Like, we're like, we met somebody in Genesis Plaza when it was like the OG build of it, and they were telling us something about making money or something. I don't know. We didn't understand. We were like, at first, we were like, I don't know,
And like let's create like some sort of timeline. This would be like 2021 lockdown, right?
Yep, yep.
Um, when since you jumped in for the first time, how long did it take you to let's say have your first show on the Central?
It probably took for my first DJ show. It probably took about, my guess would be somewhere in around 3 months. For the first month, I would kind of just hang out in Wonder Zone, I guess, and was just familiar. I'm not a huge gamer. I was into gaming a little bit when I was younger. My brother's into gaming, but I'm not like a huge gamer. So there was a little bit of a learning curve, and my computer wasn't super up to the task at the time. So there's a little bit of a learning curve just figuring out how to navigate and hang out. And I'm a little bit shy by nature. So, it took me a little second to like find my
Your right
find a
spot.
group and find people. Dr. Green Thumb was the first one who really like showed me love. And so I used to just also jump around like late at night. I would just go to the map and look for red dots. And like if I seen a red dot, I would just jump in. So I jumped into his build one night, and he was just in there learning SDK and like, working. And so I jumped in, and me and him started talking. I was like, oh, I'm an artist. I want to, get my art up and blah, 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 whatever. And he's like, oh, really? He's like, send me a link. I'll put some up right now. And I was like, what? So I sent him a link to like, I think Rarible was the first place I like tried to mint something. And I sent him a link, and he threw it up and was like, oh, refresh. And I refreshed and seen my art in there. And that was just like huge for me. Like I was like so excited and so happy. And so, yeah, he showed me mad love. He would always invite me to the different events, and when I would come into the event at like the zoo or somewhere, he'd be like, "Oh, yo, this is Stony. Like everybody say what up." Like he was always bigging me up and showing me love, and it was super cool. And he was definitely one of the first ones to, you know, um, always be like, "Oh, he does art and he DJs." Because I told him, "Oh, I DJ too," even though I'd never live streamed, and I wasn't really the one DJing at the time. My wife Sultry, she was DJing, but like I said, she was pregnant and everything was locked down, and I had all her gear. So I was like, I seen Cat 5 doing his thing in here. So I was like, well, I could DJ. Like I'll figure, like I said, I'm always up for a task,
For a
for like,
challenge.
yeah, a challenge and learning something and some. So I was like, I know I'll figure it out. And I did. I failed pretty miserable my first couple times because my internet sucked and my computer sucked, and I didn't know how to live stream. But the community's so cool in here and so encouraging. And yeah, it's awesome. I I was super blessed to find this space at the time that I did. Like, because I'm the type of person that needs a creative outlet.
I like I've seen you jumping from like the first time that I saw you playing. I think it was Parcel Parties,
Yeah, yeah, magic hour.
like a long time ago.
Yeah, Grizzle Gatsby, the homie right there.
Yeah, yeah, and we've come a long way. Now we have Mofaya Mondays.
Yep.
Um, like how was that trip from you know baby stages, let's say early baby stages to what you are today within the metaverse? Because the way I see it, Stony Eye is a recognized brand inside the metaverse by now.
Awesome. I appreciate that. That's super cool.
You know,
Yeah, I
you're
mean that was always my goal, that I I have Stony Eye Studios, which is what my art and my music writing and all that goes under. Like I said, I played in a bunch of bands and was always helping kind of build other brands, whatever the band was, I was helping do that brand. And I've always slowly been focusing on my own brand, but when all that shut down and I didn't have any of that going on, I could fully go in on my own brand. And so this gave me a platform to, really push that and try to take it to the next level. So yeah, it's been a cool process, it's like anything else. It's just one thing leads to the next, and if you keep working at really anything, the progress will come. Sometimes it's slow when you're in it, and when you look back, you can see the full progress and stuff. So I enjoy the ride. I enjoy just like I said, I need a creative outlet, so I enjoy just being able to share a vibe with people all around the world and bring that like good energy and just try to build value and bring something positive to the community is really, how I look at things.
Yeah, that's. I can see how that aligns to what you're currently doing. Like I said, the MoFi on Mondays, they're a pretty dope event. Me personally, being in the time zone that I am currently, I'm in Spain.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So
very
you're
hard
like,
for me to come, like to really attend to them.
I
But
know. I always feel bad for all there's a couple like Fred Arm is in like France. I don't know how Fred Arm's always at like all my events. They, they just must like stay up late as hell. Steve
yeah,
Seiko too, Steve Seiko, but and Buffalo, I know I always feel bad for Buffalo because he tries to show support and come, and half the time he's up at like 4 in the morning to come support me. So I know I just with my schedule, like, things have to be done in the few hours during the day with all the other stuff I have to deal with.
it
But
is what it is, brother. Like
yeah.
anytime I can, I will jump in. If I can, I just can't. But I've seen what they become to be inside the Central End as an event, you know,
Yeah.
and I've seen what you guys are doing with Brandon, creating live music. Like,
Yeah.
talk to me about the concept. Like, for me, it made me trip balls the first time that I really understood what it was all about, because the creative factor there is just like, because it's happening live, right? You guys are creating a beat or music.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, that's my newest, well, not my newest event. I guess I have a couple since then, but that was my vision for a long time, and I have to big up Sinful for really pushing me to actually do it. I'm the type of person that doesn't even like to say anything to anybody in case I never do it. Like I don't like to be that person that's always saying, "Oh, I want to do this," or "I'm going to do this," and then never do it. So like I'll keep stuff to myself a lot, and I'd been wanting to do it for a long time, and I was on Beyond the NFT um one time with Sultry, and after we got done, me and Sin were just talking for like, an hour just about all kinds of stuff, and somehow I was like, "Okay, I'm going to tell Sin about this because when I do tell somebody about something, it lights a fire under me to be like, okay, now you have to do it." Like, so
Yeah,
I'm very conscious of whether I do that or not because I know that if I do say something, I have to follow through. And he super encouraged me and, helped me figure out the logistics and help me with the stream and all that stuff. So, yeah, it was something that I'd wanted to do for a long time, and I was super hyped to actually do it. And yeah, the concept is to just, bring people behind the curtains of making a song and try to involve them as much as I can. I'll let them pick maybe the tempo of the song or send in some samples, or I'll have them pick some numbers which determine what key or what progression it is. And yeah, just like, because that's what I love to do is just make music, you know, off off of the, on the spot and whatever the creative moment brings. So whatever comes out is what comes out, and just make a song and mint it and send it to the people that were there, and really push this whole music NFT thing, which I think is super slept on still. The whole music side of it is, I
Yeah,
mean, a lot of
I think there's a lot to do there with the music NFTs.
yeah,
Um,
I see it being huge in the future, like no doubt. Like, and a lot of bigger artists have touched on it, and it's getting more buzz. And I feel like this next bull run and this next like big phase, we're gonna see a whole lot more because it's so it just brings so much value to the artist and the community that collects the music. There's just so much more
yeah,
interactiveness that can happen through that.
the thing is that people like some. I think that some people don't fully understand how can they leverage themselves with and through all the existing tools like blockchain based tools, to create an entire ecosystem around their own brand. You know,
Yeah.
okay? Like from creating your NFT collection to creating an entire community ecosystem just around blockchain technology. It's something that you can achieve. You know,
Yeah,
It-
definitely. It's
it's
it's a huge opportunity for artists and musicians, and like I said, I think there's still just a little bit of a learning curve for most people. So when a lot of that gets ironed out, and it'll definitely be when it's a little bit easier for people to just come in
and
and
do it.
do it, I think it'll be happening a lot more. And I guess, just as this next generation grows up already knowing about it, because I think, a lot of the younger people are the ones that are embracing it because they're just growing up with this technology and kind of understand it more. And it's, it's like anything else. When times change and things change, it takes a while for the older generation to jump on and for the newer generation to just come up already knowing it. So we're early, and we're paving the way, and I'm super excited that we're here doing it and paving the way.
Yeah, but your Stony Eye Studios. You say Stony Eye Studios because I know for a fact that besides the music, you guys also do wearables,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me a little bit about
Me and
the
Sultry have been, that honestly, the wearable culture in Decentraland is one of my favorite parts about it. Like, she's always been into fashion, and she had her Sultry is actually her clothing brand that she started with her sister years ago, and she used to tour and do the festival scene and do the clothing brand. So she's always really been into it. I'm into it from the sense that I was always helping design whatever band I was in, like, their logos and their artwork and their flyers and their shirts and stuff. So that whole side of it. And I'd always wanted to get into 3D modeling. Like, that's something that always really was seemed cool to me, and like an outlet that I'd always wanted to mess with, but it was super how do you say, intimidating. Like, I'd watch Blender videos and be like, dang, like that's a because I've taught myself all kind, from After Effects to all these recording programs to, like, playing the guitar to recording to producing. So like I said, I'm always up for a challenge, but for whatever reason, Blender was always a little bit more intimidating. So it was a slow process at first, but I'm, me and Sultry are both really into it, and love having that outlet and that creative outlet to do stuff with, and just like I said, I love the wearable culture in Decentraland, and it's been super fun and exciting to build a have that as part of the Stony Eye Studios brand, with the clothing and the music and the art. It all ties in together.
how many wearables do you guys have published so far?
Shoot, I don't know. It's a lot. I don't know exactly. She just put out a collection of what did she put out? She put out 4 she put out a collection of 4 things just recently, like this month, a few weeks ago actually. I haven't put anything out in a second. I have some plans. I got to get some things, but I don't know. I have at least 10 or maybe 15, and she probably has like 20 or 25. I don't even know. It's a lot now for sure.
It's slowly growing into a digital fashion empire.
Yeah, yeah, it's super cool. It's cool to see, when I'm performing, to see everybody showing support by wearing all the gear out there, and it just sets like a whole vibe, like same type of thing as like in real life going to a festival or a concert or a show. Everybody has their fashion and their support for the band. If you go see Metallica or something, everyone's got Metallica shirts or Slayer shirts or some metal
Yep.
shirts. So it's that same type of thing.
Yeah, it creates identity
Y-
within
yeah, for
within
sure.
the
And then
community.
and then with sultry stuff, it's cool to see all the girls rocking that, and like just like the whole representation of the female fashion thing in there, which is just super cool for sure. Yeah.
But she's also a musician. You said
Yeah,
you
she's a
you
musician.
easily
She
can.
she she played keyboard in a couple of my bands. We toured for years together all around the United States, and she was DJing. She had her DJ crew. She had her girl crew with singers, and she was DJing and doing like live dub remixing
Nice.
stuff. So yeah, that's we definitely,
Had
definitely
fun.
connect on that whole level.
Yeah. Well, that's dope. And what about the next steps? Like the Mofaya Mondays, I'm assuming just are what's happening right now, but I can see based on this small conversation that there's many things probably cooking right now as we speak. You're just not
Yeah,
going to speak about them, which is cool. But just like what can we expect in the upcoming months? Or
I mean, the Molfire Mondays, that's like, that started off as Magic Hour with parcel parties, as you were saying, with Grizzle Gatsby. That's like my weekly just event to just like, you know, build value and a vibe with the community, and just to have something consistent, and just a place to hang out and party, and hang out with friends and share a vibe. So, that's my meat and potatoes of my brand, and just like hanging out with the community. And then I do my bi-weekly show, the Mole Beats show, which is the live beat making show, which I've been featuring a lot of guest producers and having a lot of guests from all around the world who do all different kinds of genres. We've had rock guys and metal guys and hip hop guys and EDM guys, and younger dudes and older dudes, and just trying to,
creating beats.
yeah, just creating beats live in the metaverse, and showing a behind the scenes thing. Even if you're not a producer, it's cool to see that behind the scenes of something just built out of nothing, and see a creative process of different people doing their thing. So, that event I'm super excited about. My One of my newest events we've been doing once a month is the monthly mashup. And that one, I let everybody in the crowd pick a song, and then I take those I'll pick 2 of the songs randomly and do a mashup of the 2. So I'll take the acapella from one and the instrumental from another, mash them up, and so we have some cool creation that came out of nothing. And sometimes it's super cool, and sometimes it's okay, but that's kind of that randomness of like, just picking 2 songs and hearing what they sound like mashed together. So that one's been super fun. And then we have the Hoot Nanny that we've been doing over there at True, which is kind of like a music appreciation thing where we just dive deeper into the behind the scenes of some bands. And yeah, I just trying to constantly find that thing that's resonates with the community and resonates with me and that's super fun and just do it.
I'm a huge fan personally of the guitar solos in the middle of the DJ sets.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's
Thing, bro. Like,
yeah, that's cool you say that. I mean, that's like honestly that's kept my chops up throughout all this time because I
dude,
haven't been
dude,
playing
I
in
need to
bands.
tell you, like they're like mind blowing guitar solos. Like they trip the shit out of me. Like, every time you get into it, I'm like, just hold my hold my horses. Let me grab my pen.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. Yeah, guitar's my first love. My dad's a guitar player. He owns and runs the music shop up where I'm from. So
Oh,
he's still doing that and he still plays in bands and my dad's a shredder. All my uncles were musicians, so like the guitar is my first love and my first passion. So that's always
you play other instruments though.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, I play a little bit of everything, honestly. I took, drums and sax in school and I play keyboard and just the years of producing have really got me into
into
all the
messing with
instruments.
instruments, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love like I say, I love learning stuff. I love anything creative and it's just fun. But yeah, as far as my guitar solos and Decentraland go, that's been such a huge outlet for me and it's like so I'm so blessed to have the Central Land to be able to do that a couple times a week and just shred for like, 10 minutes. You
You
know,
should do it like longer.
yeah, I feel
Solos
I
would be
try not to
amazing.
do it too much because I'm like, okay, I don't want to like,
I don't know, it's okay. Like I think that once a month you should have like a like Mofaya guitar solo Monday.
yeah, yeah, totally. I've been kicking around some ideas to try to do something more with the guitar in there, as there's some I got
It's
some ideas. We'll see if any of them come to fruition for sure.
the first time I saw it, it blew my mind. I was not expecting it. By the way, like I was like, "What is this guy doing? Is he grabbing a guitar? No, he's not gonna do it. No, he's not gonna do it. Okay, he's doing it."
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. Yeah, because there's so many great DJs in here. You got Gucci and Sui and Buffalo and Trax and everybody, and so I feel like that's kind of the only way I can keep up with
Everybody's
the.
doing their own thing, you know.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. That's the only way I could keep up with those dudes because they be slaying it so hard. I'm like, okay, I gotta pull my guitar out and try to use my secret weapon to keep up with these guys.
it's your ace under the sleeve.
Yeah,
That's dope.
exactly, exactly.
Uh, um, well, Tony, let me just to kind of wrap it up. I'm sad that this time, like the time just went by so fast, but just to try and wrap it up. What would you advise to that first time user that maybe or maybe not here, and then it's catching the interview later on, or to the people around first time users? It's after all a casino, DJ's casino, and um, there's a lot of new users randomly jumping over there. Piece of advice for them from the one and true Stony Eye.
I mean, just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. The community is super awesome and about sharing knowledge and helping out. So, don't ever hesitate to reach out to any of the community members about anything. Like 99% of the time, they're going to go way out of their way to help you out and show you around or help you figure out whatever you need to figure out. I've had so many people help me with figuring out how to stream or how to make a wearable or how to make an emote or, really anything. I've been blessed and the community is super awesome and super knowledgeable. And we have just the most talented people around us, and definitely don't be scared to utilize that and you know, put yourself out there and ask any questions because that's how you're going to learn, and that's how you're going to get to the next step and the next level and help build your whatever you're trying to do, to just, you know, slowly put yourself out there and add value to the community. That it goes a long way, you know, like what you're doing, for instance. You're adding a huge value to the community and giving to them something that they need, and and putting highlights on people like me or Brandon or other community members who are doing things, which is super awesome. And you know
Thank you for the kind words, brother. We just tried.
yeah, that's all you could
We only
do.
tried.
Yeah.
Yeah. So more fire. What the
More fire.
fuck?
I love it. I wish I
Bro,
had my
that
air
that
horn. I need my air
was
horn.
that was a deep message. I want to thank you for your time as always.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
Been
for having me.
been very
I'm
kind.
honored to be on here and talk to you. It's nice to really, because we've connected through for so long now, like through chat and everything else. It's always super cool, I think, to sit down and like see each other and hear each other's voices and go back and forth.
Put
And
a
that was all.
face to the avatar, I call
Yeah,
it.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, brother, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for sharing your stories and your trip to the center
Awesome.
with us.
Yeah, thank you for
Have a
having
good
me.
one, bro.
Bless up, bless up.
Thank you, man.